You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, power man, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we talking comics, baby. Some indie comics with an amazing creator. This person, not just a creator, he's a designer, he's a writer. He's been around the business doing his thing, pimping his game, and he's here today, pimping his new wares through Mad Cave called Morning Star. It's a fire book that you guys must add to your pull list. Let me put this future legend, this superstar right here, the one and only, making his debut on the Comic Crusaders podcast with me today, hanging out, the one and only Mr. Tim Daniel. How you doing?
I need you as a hype man everywhere I go. I don't care where I'm going to be. I don't care what I'm doing. That was awesome. Thank you.
Brother, listen, we celebrate our creators here. We show the love. We appreciate what you guys do because you bring this fun. You bring the stories. You share yourselves. You know what I mean? So, listen, if we don't celebrate you, the hell will. You know what I mean? Let's get it done. So, a big salute to you, my brother. All right? So, with that, welcome to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I'm very happy to have you. I just finished reading the book because I always like to read the book right before I interview. So everything's fresh. And I feel the energy, where my thoughts, where my mind at. Let me tell you, I love what you guys are doing over here. I think you got a dope squad. Thank you for bringing the book that's been taking so long in the making. We're going to get to those stories as well. That's right. I got some bochincha I already know about. So let's get into it. Before anything, we're going to reel it back just a tad, if you will. Even though you were in a San Francisco hat, I'll forgive you.
Hey.
It's okay. Is that where you're originally from, brother?
Well, born in Philly, but raised in the North Bay.
Oh my God, Philly and then SF, the Giants, mortal enemies both ways. It's okay. I will not end the podcast because of that. I will still appreciate it. Don't do it.
I think that ended for me back in February. Another Super Bowl loss.
Yeah, I don't know how that really was. Anyway, whatever. Say what you will, c'est la vie. It happened. It's in the record book. It's done. Nothing we can do about it unless we get a time machine. But again, if you make a time machine for that cause, you cannot correct that because if that was the purpose, you can never fix it.
No, I wouldn't even bother. I mean, look, I'm happy enough, right? With the Niners having won, 5? The Giants won 3. I never thought I'd see the Giants win a World Series, so I'm good.
Something's going on, but that's good. I'll forgive you guys, for having some type of because those are off just a tad. Right. So talk to me about then the origins of your geekdom. What was the first thing you ever fell in love with ever, and how was it even presented to you, or was it a self-found journey?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good right there. That kind of summarizes it. It's definitely a winding road. I mean, it started for me back in discovered comics when I was 12. Back in the 80s, discovering the X-Men. Yeah.
Was it mommy? Was it your cousins? Did you have siblings? How did you find it?
Best friend lived around the corner. We'd ride our bikes, just kind of hang out. One day it was like
really the BMX days, bro, the dinos and all that good stuff.
Totally. Yeah. I had my mongoose. I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I busted my balls on a mongoose. Never again. My boy was taller than me. And his seat was high, and I crashed when I tried his bike. Oh my God, man! Let me tell you, I'm lucky I have a kid.
Those things were made for ball busting. Just that one bar, straight down the middle, boom.
Oh, bro! I saw stars that don't even exist yet.
Serious.
I became
That's what we would do. We'd hang out, and do that kind of thing. I was 12 years old, and one day it was really shitty out, so we just stayed at his house, and he my friend Kevin, he busted open this binder, this binder, like a photo album, and it was just filled with comics. And the second I saw it, it was just filled with all these X-Men. He was collecting.
Binder? Really?
Yeah, I just popped it open, and there was the X-Men, and that did it, man. It was like, what is this? I need this. I need to have this. I need to have all this all the time.
So did you put him in a headlock, take his book, and run?
I did get to take his binder home. That was a thing, man. But that started it. That was when I was about 12. And then, fast forward life, college, failing out of college, going back to college, and just sort of kind of missed about 10 years. And then I got a job at Amazon, and I was working in downtown Seattle. And my boss at the time, my manager, was like, "Hey, let's take a break. Let's walk around the corner. There's a shop around the corner I want to take you to." I was like, "Sure, let's go." So we walked around the corner. It was called Xanadu Comics. And it was like the end of the 90s. It was like 98.
Did he know you were a fan?
I might have had like a couple things, you get to decorate your cube, so you could feel like you had an identity. And I had a couple things up, right?
Okay, but lucky you. You did fandom shit. When I moved to Boston from New York, the first thing I did was put up Giants, Yankees, and everywhere, and they were hating me from the moment I arrived.
Yeah, I put up like Ultraman and a couple other things, and he had the Hulk up at his cube, and so I think that's cool. What he did. He kind of grasped onto that, and his name was John. He took me around the corner. We went to Xanadu Comics, and it was the late 90s. And when I walked in, seeing for the first time like how much things had changed in that 10 years I kind of missed.
So what circle is this? So I could know what era we were in when you got back.
What was that?
So what year was this about, if you will?
So probably stopped around the late 80s and then started again. This was 98 in downtown Seattle at 98.
Okay.
Yeah. Walked in and I saw like, all right, whoa, shit's really different. Like, these are hard art. Some of these books are hard R. They're doing different things. They look different. This wasn't the X-Men, right? This wasn't 1981. This was 98. And it hit me right away. Like I just started buying piles of independent books. And then I saw like Marvel Knights was relaunching and I grabbed that and that reignited my love for Marvel. So like all those things were happening. Powers, The Walking Dead wasn't too far off. So that started a little bit later, but
forget it. Me, Walking Dead, again, I always tell people I was one of the first ones of my friends, but they didn't like the book because it was black and white. I'm like, you fucking cornballs. I grew up on Savage Sword of Conan black and white, so I liked the fact of seeing a black and white regular comic. Also, I found it to be cool, especially from Image at the time. They weren't doing no black and white books.
Didn't matter to me. As soon as I started reading that, I was
me too. Thank you, Tim. We are connoisseurs. We are gourmet people of comics. We're the gourmet.
Like, I don't know why people do want to put it. Why do you want to put a parameter around what it can be? It can be anything. It could be anything, man. Like it could be a piece of binder paper with pencil and it's a comic. As long as you're drawing it, trying to tell a story, to me, it qualifies. It doesn't matter what it is. Walking Dead was one of those that, like, again, it showed me like, oh, things are different now. Things are a lot different now. And there's a lot of opportunity to explore different things. And so I did.
Now, it was also the same time that Dark Horse did Conan.
Yes.
So that got me back into Conan because, like, oh shit, Conan is back. Dark Horse, let me check this out. So the same day I found Walking Dead, I refound Conan.
Yep, I mean, like that's the thing though. Those things will lead you into other things, right? And
bro.
Pain. Discovering and rediscovering all the things that I had sort of left behind, and I was like, why did I ever do that? And not only now that I was an adult, in my early 30s, I was like, well, not only do I want to read and collect, I want to make these. I want to do, like, this is what I always wanted to do.
All right.
And so 2003, I started posting some of my design work online in forums like Jinx World and Kirkmania and the Image forums, and just started
the big boys, but
just started posting my stuff, and a couple people noticed, and Nick Spencer, and then Valentino at Shadowline, they picked up the logo. And then Valentino was the one who gave me an opportunity to do everything. He was like, design all the books for Nick and anything else I can give you. And I was like, sure, I want to do that.
How do you feel seeing Image on a label in a comic book shop when you pick it up? And next thing you know, now you are behind the scenes. You're behind the counter, if you will.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was like a goal at 2003, and it didn't happen till about 2008 is when my first published book. But man,
that's a short journey. 5 years. I mean, it's a journey. I'm not dismissing the length, but about 5 years again, it's relatively short.
Yeah, no. If it would have taken 10 years, I don't care. I would have kept going. I mean, like when I moved here to Montana, I moved here from Seattle, and I walked into my local shop, befriended the manager owner, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, listen." She was like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna make comics." She's like, "No, you're not." It's so hard to break in. I'm like, "Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am."
Oh my God! You know what? I would have dropped that OCS that day. How dare you not have faith in your customer?
She was trying to be realistic. She was good friends with like some like Neil Gaiman. She was good.
Man, ask him before you continue.
Before
you continue, you say she's being realistic. However, did she read any of your stuff or check out any of your stuff prior to your commentary?
She didn't really know. I mean, in all fairness, she didn't really know. Like she knew I could design her website for her store, right? But she didn't know I could actually, and I didn't even know.
You were internet good.
Right. Exactly. I was an internet pinup hero, like that's what I was doing. And I didn't know, I had never done print work before. So I had no idea what I was doing. I was making it up as I was going along, figuring it out, asking questions, making bad mistakes, but figuring it out.
That's how you learn.
And that's what did it. That's what led me into like, okay, I got design work published through Valentino at Shadowline. And then, Jim asked, like, what do you really want to do? Another time where someone asked me, what do you really want to do? And I seized the opportunity. I said, look, I want to publish, I want to write, but I don't want you to say no. So I'll tell you what, instead of me pitching you, help me develop something.
Ooh, nice.
So instead of you saying yes or no, just help me get to a yes. Yeah. And he was willing to do that.
Help me drive, my driving instructor.
Totally. Right. Like no better instructor than one of the founders of the company. Like,
I mean, Valentino's a legend, he's a boss, no doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a real education. And to his credit, again, he took that risk, he took that opportunity to give me the chance. And he published my first book, Enormous, and it was a 64-page treasury oversized edition that he helped, every step of the way. And that was, once that started, then I never wanted to stop. I only wanted
really enormous, huh?
Yep.
Love it.
So then it just sort of snowballed, and we continued publishing Enormous at another company because they were willing to do it, and that was the plan. And then I got a co-writer with Mike Marisi, and we published a couple of books at Boom.
How do you mean, Mike?
What's that?
Talk about you navigating now. You got in now. You were Valentino, and now you're networking. Mike is a boss too, a legend. Amazing creator. Like, how did you even start navigating with the others? That you were also, again, you were reading them at one point, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, now they're colleagues. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was interesting because it was a bit of a harsh advice, right? Valentino, one thing he said to me, he's like, look, if you really want to learn this, start small, get bigger. Like, he confined me to 64 pages, which in retrospect was too much. And like, I had to learn. And I had to learn the format. I had to learn how to fit a story into a specific box, like 64 pages, right? And at the end of the process, I think the result was good. But he said to me, get a co-writer. And I was like, okay. Well, by coincidence, Mike Marisi and I had both had our first books out through Image at the same time.
Oh,
so,
cool.
And we were both at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, we're rookie buddies.
Yeah. So we exchanged books, shake hands, talk, how you doing? We're on a panel, that kind of thing.
What a homie, yeah.
Yeah. And then time passes and, like 2 or 3 years passes, and just sort of reached out to Mike. I think we started talking to each other. I was doing design work for him on his books. He was doing Hoax Hunters and a couple other things with Tim Seeley. And he just reached out, and I did too. And we just kind of went, hey, what if we tried something? What if we did work together?
Dope.
And so, you know, we kind of started talking about that, but didn't have an idea yet. And then one day I was talking with Riley Rossmo, artist for DC and Image and a host of
boss. Yeah, amazing creator.
And I was talking to him on the phone, and we were just shooting the shit. And I was like, Riley, if you ever did a book, what would you want to do? What would you most want to do? And he's like, I want to do a werewolf book. And I was like, well, I have an idea. Let me talk to Mike. So I immediately talked to Mike and said, hey, look, Riley wants to do a book, but he wants to do werewolves. I think I got something. He said, okay. So I was like, hey, it's, you know, what if you've got a man who wants to track down the werewolf, not to kill it, but to obtain the curse. So, and his motivation for that is he's got to save his dying son. And he's going to make some hard choices, kind of like Breaking Bad meets, you know, a werewolf tale. And he's going to make some tough choices on behalf of saving his son with this werewolf, if he can find it, if he can track it down. And that's what started the idea. And so it kind of grew from there. That was book number 1. That was Curse. And so that navigation of like finding people that are doing like things, right? Mike's doing horror, I'm doing horror. And then finding people that are at the same stage of their career, more or less. Mike had already been a bit more accomplished than I was at that point, because he had continued to publish while I was trying to figure out my next steps. But that's advice I always try to give other creators, is find the people that are your peer to, and find the people that share similar likes, similar tastes, similar interests, and work with them and grow with them. So like create your own tribe, stick with that tribe, grow that tribe, and keep going. And that's kind of what happened. So there was this whole group of us that had gone into Shadowline and Image, and my knowledge base of who was who grew exponentially because I was designing all their books. So I could talk to any artist, I could talk to any writer. I was talking to every facet.
What a web was being built.
Yeah. Yes. So designing books really, and still does, give me tremendous opportunity to meet like people I would never interact with otherwise, because they might not want to interact with me, right? But designing
I mean, only because they may feel threatened. Tim, is that it?
So there you go. And then it just expanded. It just kept going and expanding from that kind of interaction. Another artist came into Shadowline. His name was Colin Lorimer. And we started talking to Colin, and he joined us on Curse with Riley.
Cool.
And then he joined us for our next book, which was Burning Fields at Boom.
Oof.
A bit of a true detective meets The Thing in the deserts of Kabul and outside of Iraq. And so it just kept growing like that and kept changing. And you know, one book led to the next then.
Wonderful.
And here we are.
We got to start digging into this baby, because now you got this fire project. You just hooked up one of my favorite indie posts out there, Mad Cave Studios, for a new book. So, folks, before I show you the PowerPoint, before we give you the bochincha, the gossip on this book, you know what? I actually have an official trailer. So check this out, and then we're going to start digging in, baby. Let's face it, the lead man is Charlie. sites you don't know what does. Yo, Tim, talk to me. What the hell is the madness of Morningstar? Talk to me, Big Yoda Daniel. What up? What up?
Oh man, this is like my career. It's a long and winding road. It's a 10 years since Marco and I first.
Oh, he think like Mad Cave 10 years. Oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's a fitting merger between my career and where they're at now as a publisher. 10 years in, Mad Cave, and it was really cool to get the opportunity to share. We shared multiple books. This is co-written with DB Andre and myself, and illustrated by Marco Finnegan, as you saw in the trailer, colored by Jason Wordie, letters by Justin Birch.
Beautiful lettering.
And we got a chance, DB Andre and I, from Resonant, and Nightfall double feature, got a chance to pitch Morningstar to Mad Cave, along with 2 other titles. And incredibly, about a year and a half ago, they took all 3 from us. And yeah.
That's right. That's the baby. Look at Tim Daniel pimping his words like a boss. Now talk to me. Why Mad Cave? What was it about Mad Cave that made you say this is the company I want to work with in the independent game?
I love their focus. I love their focus and dedication. This is a time where everyone in the world right now is talking about the state of the market, the state of the industry. Where are we? What books are selling? What books are not selling? What's happening? How do we change? How do we pivot? How do we evolve? Mad Cave is doing all that, but maintaining a strict focus on telling stories through their comics. And that to me that's why I'm here. That's what I want to do. And it was just, again, my design background led me to Mad Cave through some contract work where they were just asking me, can you design this logo? Can you take a look at this book? Can you help us here? And I was like, sure, of course. And working with the editors there, and then finding out like, oh, I could pitch to them. DB and I can take our books there and pitch to them. And so that's what led into Morningstar existing. And it was a 10-year path to getting there, because this is something that Marco Finnegan and I started 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah, we had a complete story, we had complete scripts, we had a full issue drawn, and it got twice with 2 different publishers. It kind of got lost in a shift, a change.
Is it doing it over time or?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, over time. And so it kind of freed itself up, right? And it went into the drawer and it went away. And Marco and I just sort of, once in a while, check in with each other, see how we're doing. And then along comes Mad Cave and starting some design work there. And then DB comes along in 2019 and we start writing together, and we write End After End, and we write Nightfall double feature and get those, on the road to publishing through Vault. And, at the same time, we just started churning out idea after idea and going back into the drawers we both have for ideas that have sat there. And one of them was Morningstar. And so I shared everything with David, and, he took a look at everything and basically re-scripted from start to finish the entire series. And then that just took off for us. And so that was part of our first pitch to Mad Cave. So here we are, March 27th to Wednesday.
Cover. Look at this gorgeous cover. Right? Who did this? Because this is madness. I love those. I love red, the color red. Love the color black, and the way you guys, whoever did this artwork, you guys tell me who did this, because this is gorgeous.
That's Skylar Patridge, who is lines and colors. Skylar is primarily doing a lot of cover work. They just launched and are about to close their Kickstarter for an incredible book called Our Sins Are Scarlet.
Okay.
And Skylar's doing a lot of work at DC, a lot of cover work. May have some other things coming along. And Skylar's just one of those super talented artists that highly versatile, will tackle any subject matter, and just happens to be also a good friend of both David and I. So You know, Skylar was not only at the top of Mad Cave's list as a get for a cover artist, but also on our own personal list. So it was perfect.
So where did the idea come from? Like, what type of information did you put in Skylar's head in order to create this? And this fit within the vision of what you were thinking?
Yeah, I mean, look, Nathan Garrett is the father figure in this story, and he is a smoke jumper. And since this is 1956 in the Kootenai Forest of Montana, smoke jumping is brand new. These guys are World War II veterans, primarily, that founded this program of firefighting in the wilderness. And the first time I ever saw one, a picture of one at the outset of their sort of creation of the program for smoke jumpers, I was like, man, that's a cool visual. The way they're dressed, their helmets look like, you know, just these like almost NFL football helmets with these gridded iron, you know, face masks, and they look like astronauts with their jumpsuits, and they're carrying like huge packs with weapons that are not weapons, they're tools.
Astronauts that walk through hell.
Yes. Hell. And so giving that kind of information to Skylar and just giving a couple of references, Skylar came up with the composition. And then all I did was say, hey, could we just add Charlie, who's his son, right there in the center, almost as if he's a part of the suit, father and son. And then that did it. It was just magic. It was perfect.
Powerful, beautiful cover. And talk to me, what's going on here? I mean, I would assume that these are most of the protagonists of the story, no?
Indeed. That's Nathan Garrett, the father, up top. Okay. And Nathan, he's going to die. He's going to die right away. Spoiler alert, he's dead.
He's
in a fire.
Really poor old guy.
Now, the rest of his family, his wife, Jolene, who's also mother to Maribeth and Charlie, they return a year later to the site of the fire that claimed their husband and father's life. And they go to symbolically scatter Nathan's ashes. Where they go is the Morning Star Lookout Tower. And as they're up in this 60-foot tower to scatter his ashes, they are visited. And they are visited by something that may or may not be him. And that haunting kind of starts us off down the path of what you consider to be a pretty traditional horror. But readers are going to find out it's far more than that. So those are all our protagonists. All of them feature very, very heavily in the book. And if you're like a fan of, say, 80s sort of family drama genre, like Poltergeist or E.T., those are pretty clear touchstones.
You're picking a legendary film, so not everybody's gonna want this.
I'm old, so those were pretty.
I could see it, sir. I think you're gray. I'm actually more white. I think we will compete. That'll be the next competition for the Olympics. Who has the white beard? Hey, let's go. But again, just have a look inside the book, folks. I mean, look at the uses of panels. What I also want to look at is also the outside border. I mean, look at the page architecture. I mean, the coloring of the page itself, not traditional white, or anything. It kind of looks like like that browning, like there's heat applied against it. I see what you guys are doing here.
That's sort of the combination of, first of all, Marco feels like someone who might have drawn a comic in the 50s, maybe the 60s. He has a style that sort of evokes the masters of that era. But then you combine him with Jason Wordie, and what Jason did was we looked through references, we shared some references with each other for books and strips that were created at the time. What did they look like? They used simple 4-color, they used halftones, so you get all those dots, and they look a little bit offset, so colors don't match lines all the time. There's a handmade feel to it.
Yeah, and so is what made it feel so perfect.
Yeah, so Jason really brought that flavor to Marco's already sort of art that evoked that era. And so it's just a perfect combination of the two that gives you something that feels like it came from 1956.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look at these panels. Look at these colors. And your letterist is the boss. I love the placement of the bubbles that doesn't interfere with any of the art, and like just that first panel on this page, you know, there's an action and just the way the words express it, the lettering, wonderfully done. I'm a big fan. And then the coloring, because you know, you see from one panel, you know, it's hot, you feel it almost, and then you go into this shit like, oh shit, they're about to cool down, and you almost feel that cooling sensation. Now your color is really transitioning. Well done. Because you also see kind of a shade right on top of that second panel of the heat, but it's kind of a cool down as they've fallen. I see it.
Yes. I mean, that's Jason Wordie, right? And, you know, Jason has done so many books now for so long, for so many publishers. Like, he's a guy that I constantly sort of advocate for, you know, please, somebody give him an Eisner. Like, he's so versatile.
Harvey and Eisner, you know what? Keep doing indie comics, and heroic awards will bless you, because we're doing the heroic awards this year. C2E2, blessing independent comic books. And you know what? You know, Matt Cave is an independent publisher, so you know what I mean. You never know what could happen this year, next year. But you know, let's make the independent comic book awards be known, because people like you, Tim, and the rest of your team that are doing books outside of what are known from the big two and Premiere and even Image. I mean, you know, they're deluxe publishers, if you will, Premiere. You know, they're in a higher tier. There's, you know, but publishers like a Mad Cave, they're really fighting in the space and bringing quality like you're bringing. I mean, look at this fucking page.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People kind of take an independent book for granted somewhat.
Yes, they do.
You know, everything I've learned in the last, say, 20 years of doing this has been that they're a fucking miracle. I mean, they're a miracle that they exist, because you're talking about a lot of individuals that have to come together, hit a common goal, often for, you know, little to no pay. Although I will say Mad Cave is wonderful about that.
Hey, Mark, thank you for taking care of creators. Nobody don't know shit about Mad Cave. You know, we heard stuff about another publisher, and look, I know they want to make things right. I believe that they do want to make things right. Yeah. And hopefully they go on that. I don't want to mention their name, because you know I like them, and I really do want them to do right. And we at Comic Crusaders believe that they want to do right. So please prove us right.
yeah. I mean, look, there's, you know, for every company that maybe has had some very difficult times in the last, say, 3 to 4 years, a couple that have perished before our eyes in the last year.
Oh my God, you have no idea what I don't see anymore, and I'm saddened by that, because there was so much potential.
But for every one of those, you know, there are definitely independent publishers that have fought their way through the last 3 to 4 years. They've fought their way through increases in pricing for supply, paper, printing costs. They've fought their way through, you know, work stoppages. They've fought their way through, you know, an uncertain market that at first during the pandemic re-embraced comics, and then we all went back outside again and went, whoa, cool, we can spend our money on other shit. You know, but for every one of those, there's a Mad Cave, there's a Vault, there's an Image. You know, there are companies that continue to push and evolve
and continue and bless creators, giving them the opportunity to get their story told, baby.
Yep.
Preach. Tim, so, I'm going to church with you. Let's go. You know what? I hold the collection plate, and I need you to preach, baby. Let's go.
I know. I mean, I can't help it. Like, for me to evangelize, you know, independent publishers, I mean, that's been my career. I mean, I kind of made a conscious decision that I would never pursue nor really entertain the idea of telling a story for Marvel or DC, simply because I don't feel like I can tell it any better than anyone else already has. And I don't believe that I'd like to own what I make.
Absolutely. You want to have an ownership stake to the work that you put in. And you know what? Shame on these big two publishers, you know, trying to keep an old school style of thought alive today. Yes. Like, come on, yo. This is a different generation. It's a different economy. You know, listen, it's a creator economy. And without these creators, guess what, Big Two? You ain't shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The lifeblood of comics, period, is the creator. I mean,
absolutely. Guys like you know, whether they've been in a minute or just coming in. If they're not guys like you that are bringing the heat, baby, bringing the stories, hooking us like fucking fish. They don't got no game, baby. You are the game.
It's hard for me to think any differently after listening to Robert Kirkman several years ago, talk about like own your shit.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman game the game. Yo, I got an alien story for you. Bullshit. It was a crazy zombie story, and it was amazing. No aliens ever fucking showed up.
I mean, look, man, everything he said, he backed it up 1000%. I really deeply admire that. And
he got Hasbro, with the Skybound shit he's doing, like G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rival. He is murdering the game right now with his team. So blessed to people that just, have initiative, just say, F it, I'm gonna do it. And this is why I like creators like you, Tim, because you too, like you're talking about it. You're not just talking about it, you're not thinking about it. You're doing it. I mean, look at this one page I'm showing you guys right now. Look at the panel work on this effing. This is comic books, folks. This is what comic books is supposed to be eye candy. You're supposed to look at this, and your eyes are supposed to move in a way like you're looking at a shorty with fucking a Coca-Cola body. You know what I mean? That's what these things do like to me. The way that it makes my eyes move, I'm looking at the chick with hips the size of Kim Kardashian, you know what I mean? That Nicki Minaj. It's like, whoa, look at this side. This is gorgeous. Lettering, colors, the movement, everything. This is independent comic books. This is dope comic books that are on the same level as any big two comic book. And you know what I know when to pick it up? Follow Tim on X and Instagram at Tim Daniel Comics. You know what I mean? And not just that, you also guys got to show love to Mad Cave Studios, where this book that you guys gotta buy it after your pull list will be coming from. Show the effing love. This is independent comics at its best, baby. Right. You know what I mean? So talk to me about Morningstar. Like, how many issues we get in? What's the story?
Well, it's gonna be 5, and it's gonna be, that's it. It's done. I like to tell a story, move on to the next one. And like I said, we've got 2 more.
Oh,
2 more titles.
You're like a Latino novela writer. Let me tell my story, and it's gonna end whether you like it or not. And we got another novela.
I'll take that every time. I mean, I just want to tell more stories. So yeah, Morningstar is gonna be 5 issues. The good news is Morningstar's been done and is completely done, and will be on schedule in stores month after month until it wraps.
Oh my God. That shit does not make you guys fucking get turned on. Like, you get a book on time every month. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of late people out there. I mean, they scare you. Thank God, you're not married to them or something. Because shit, you're like, oh my God, another bill. When they're late, you should worry though, because that means they have an incomplete run. Like, you don't want that either. You know what I mean? I worry. I'm a collector. I'm a fan. Come on, but I worry about dumb shit. I love it. No, this is my shit. I love it. I appreciate awesome creators like you. I mean, folks, have you seen his room? I mean, look at the stuff that he has behind him. I mean, can you tease just a little? Look at this guy. Holy shit. The ultimate geek room over here. Oh my, slow-mo. Look at this. He's about to do all 360s. Stop it, bro. Stop it. I cannot compete with the awesomeness of that room. My gosh. So let's step outside the creative base and just touch on your nerddom a little bit. That is a dope room. Talk to me about your geekiness. Like, when did your collection start, and what is your key? What is your gem?
Well, I mean, collecting started back in the 80s. I mean, I was a reader, but also I wanted to make sure I kept those. And I had my long box, I had my binders, I had my sleeves, I had my boards, I had my bags. And that kind of went away. I sold everything.
I hear you. For family, the things that we men do for family, folks. Real. I listen. I had what was probably one of the illest collections on the planet, and I had to let it go for, again, family first. I mean, a whole Commandy run, New Gods. I had Jack Kirby 4th World in print. All right.
Oh, yeah. That geekiness started then, and then of course, I was 10 years old, 1977. I went to the theater. I saw Star Wars. Holy shit! I'm a 10-year-old in 1970.
My first movie in theaters was Hell Night with Linda Blair. That's why I'm a horror fan.
There you go.
My parents abused me. I shouldn't have seen that movie.
Yeah, but it turned you into a horror fan. So
thank you, mommy and daddy. And then I turned on my brothers to that shit. Now they're sickos.
So that kind of stuff just piled up. Like between comics, motion pictures, movies. I was always, once a week I was down at the theater. Sometimes I would just ride my bike down and just jump theater to theater.
We come from that era, the movie theater era, because to be honest, yes. 80s, 90s, you're dating with a chick. There's no Netflix and chill. There's none of that shit. It was like, Friday night, Saturday night, you get paid, baby. We're here in the movie theater. We're gonna see the dopest shit, and go to whatever restaurant is popping there at the time, whatever it was, or pick up even a slice and then go from there.
Yep, it didn't matter what it was. So like that piled up, and
I miss those days. That's what we mean by good old days, people. We pay $6 for a movie, not fucking 20. God damn.
No shit. Taking a family to the movies, don't get me started. I did this last weekend. We went and saw Ghostbusters. My girls wanted to go see that.
Did you like it? We were just talking about that with my brothers and also a person that makes like the packs and everything for cosplayers. He's a designer. He said that this one definitely respected the mythos of the OG. Would you agree to that?
100% agree. Yeah. I mean, they're front and center. They're much part of the story as the new group, and that's
that other one that we shall not name.
I watched that too this weekend and I love it.
Oh, you did? You liked it? I mean, I saw it. I'm like, listen, the way that I want to approach this, like I told my brothers, approach that as a multiverse Ghostbusters. And if you watch it that way, you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, don't even sweat it. Don't even worry about it. Like, just enjoy it if you enjoy it. If you don't,
it's another world. That's all. I mean, they touch on things, but in that world, that's the shit that happened.
That's a great approach.
That's how I approach comic book movies. Because if I didn't approach it that way, my things would have been even whiter by now. My mustache would be white. This is why I have some black. I've learned how to de-stress.
I think everything should be approached. I think that's a really good attitude. I think everything should be approached that way. I mean, it's like
multiverse, fuck the world. That's what it is. Tim, you are fucking amazing. So before we go, all right, 2 more things.
Yeah.
First of all, it is con season. The weather's warming up, baby, and so is the convention season. So you're going to be making any appearances where we could check you out, get some signed books, and hang out with you and meet you in person. Either buy you a beer, smoke a blunt, whatever we need to do. I don't know.
Definitely. Just did Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. And
how was that this year?
It was my first time back in 5 years.
Hiatus. So
yeah,
how did it feel? Talk about that.
I've been locked in this basement for 5 years making books.
I mean, who's keeping you locked there? You okay? Do you need help?
Well, comics keep me locked here. But yeah, it was the first time back in 5 years. It was great, man. Saturday it reminded me of like, oh shit, this is why I love this. And just being able to see people I haven't seen in a long time, new people I've never met. Getting to talk to folks. I'd never met anybody at Mad Cave, and I got to hang out at the booth, and do a signing, do a panel, and that was great. So it reminded me, like, I came home and I'm like, oh shit, I'm ready to go. I want to do more. More.
Man, Tim, you deserve that attention. Wonderful, brother.
I'll be here locally in Missoula, Montana at Free Comic Book Day at my LCS.
What's the LCS?
Muse Comics and Games.
There we go. When are you going to be there exactly so people know in your town?
Yeah, Free Comic Book Day, May the 4th this year.
Hey, I got to head there. I know there's a couple of things I definitely do want. I'm a geek still. I got to do it, man.
Anna, we got a great shop.
Wepa, there we go. And now, lastly, and a very important question, because you've been on the journey, and even with this particular tale, like you're talking about, damn, it took 10 years for you to be able to, find the team, share this, put the shit out there. Like, with creators coming up now, like, what would you tell them, especially if they've held on to a story for a minute?
Oh God, yeah, man. First of all, biggest thing is no is not no. No, you know, I saw a lot of people as I was moving along. I saw a lot of people like they embraced their rejection. I got rejected. It's the end of the story. It's the end of my project. No, it doesn't mean that at all. In fact, it only means that that project doesn't fit for that publisher at that time. So like, there's no reason to let something die. There's no reason to stop. There's other ways of doing it. And, you know, in the last 10 years, look, the industry changed radically. We've got Kickstarter, we got Zoop, we've got, you know, direct to consumer options where people can make their own books and get them right directly to the people that want to read them. You've got social media, like you've got opportunities to share your books. So don't take no as an end. It is not. It is only just a step. Like I've been rejected plenty of times. It doesn't mean anything to me. It only means that I'm just going to keep doing it and keep going elsewhere. And, you know, Morningstar is a great example, as we talked about, right? 2 different publishers, 10 years. We've started the book. We stopped the book. We restarted the book. Like, there's no reason to stop. If you really want to do it, you're going to do it. Everything else is just an excuse. I hate to sound like, you know, grandpa or a cheerleader, but like, that's that's the truth. And
no,
you know,
you got it. You're absolutely right. Listen, if you believe in it, if you got this, get her done. That's all.
Yep,
listen,
that's it.
Yeah, show and prove, baby. I always tell people this. It's like at the end of the day, talk all the shit you want. I'm fine with that. But show and prove.
Yes.
Talk all this shit, but you know what? And I'll root for you, no doubt. But show and prove.
Yes. I mean, that's, you know, for artists, I say, you know, don't rely so much on the pinup that's going to get you the clicks. Maybe share some sequentials that's going to get a writer interested in partnering with you that shows you range.
You know how to fucking tell story. You know how to fucking move it. Like, you know what I mean? Look, for example, I would like to use the Primal. Look at it. Have you seen that cartoon?
Yes.
This has no fucking words to it. You know what I mean? But it was written, you know, and the artist is able to display this dope story with no words other than goddamn grunts and roars.
Yep.
And it's one of the most beautiful stories I think ever told in animated history.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Because that last fucking episode made me feel as a fucking father. Like,
dude,
yo.
Gendy is great. Like,
dude.
His animated Star Wars stuff was incredible, and like, don't get me started. Gendy is incredible.
Yeah, this is why I knew I felt Tim's energy. This is why we're like-minded folks. We enjoy the same shit. We know what it is, baby. Especially on this. Yo, Tim, thank you again. Now, folks, I'm gonna show it one last time for you guys because you got to make it happen. You got to follow my man Tim on both X or Twitter. Yes, I know some people hate to say X, but I don't respect entrepreneurs. You should respect them, all right? If it's called X, it's okay. So it's X, all right? And then Instagram at Tim Daniel Comics. The links are below. I made it easy for you. And of course, you want to know everything about the book, get some dope previews about this book, go visit madcavestudios.com right now. Not just for Tim's book. Morningstar is fire. It's going to be added to your pool list, no doubt. 5 issues. I mean, this is something you want. Trust me. You want this in issue format. That's where the paper at, right? You could buy the trade paperback so you don't touch your individuals when they come out. But get these floppies as they come out. Trust me. I already show you a couple sample pages. Don't fuck around. You know, I just showed you what it is, all right? So madcavestudios.com, because they got more than just Morningstar and a whole bunch of good shit. Tim, you are the boss, and I've been showing you this all along, okay? You can follow me at The Real Omega. Follow me at the Omega Podcast, Comic Crusaders, undercovercapes.com. You know, show love to my extended family. Big shout out to Johnny Hughes, the Old Timers Comic Book Show. And most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, the Heroic Awards this year at C2E2 celebrating indie comic books. That's right, indie comic creators. That's right. They're getting the recognition they deserve through us. It's love, man. So let's make it happen. And Mad Cave is actually a sponsor. So thank you to Mad Cave. You guys rock. And with that, to my Crusaders, to my boy Tim, To everybody, hasta la próxima, much love and omega, and we are out.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.